Hey everybody. All right. So we're heading into week 2 now for the Clean Living Challenge. So I came on a little bit later today, just to hopefully catch some more people. And so I just wanted to recap from last week and then I'll just start explaining what this week's all about. So I hope you all learned a little bit from last week's challenge with the waste reduction. And I'd love to, if you haven't done it yet, I'd love to see hear about your experience and everything, and what you did, what you were able to do. Was it hard, easy? Did you like it? Are you going to go do more? I hope that you do. And if you do, I'd love to hear about what you're going to do next. If you want any more resources, I have lots. A lot of the places that I go to, of course, are in Saskatchewan, but there are other websites that you can buy reusable products or refillable products from online. So I will post websites and everything too. Even if you come to Saskatchewan, you know that there's a store to go to. So I'll do that. So yeah, I'd love to hear about what you guys thought from week 1. And now this week we're going to do waste diversion. So we're going to kind of do the more of the recycling, the waste sort of stuff first, and then the last week we're going to do more of the nutrition side of things. And it'll kind of just wrap everything together and it'll all be connected in the end. So yeah, so waste diversion. So this week it's all about where what are you putting in the garbage, or where are you putting your waste. So now that we know how to reduce our waste, there are obviously some things that you have to throw away or get rid of. So what can we do? A lot of things, there are a lot of different things. And the reason why we're going to divert our waste is because again, I mentioned it last week, we don't want to fill up our landfills, and then that'll result in probable air pollution, water pollution, and even just the ground, like the soil and everything, the area, the environment pollution. So we want to eliminate that. And also from extracting other raw resources, again, to make new things. So we want to conserve our resources. So there are lots of different ways that you can do this, and I'm just going to quickly go through the bigger categories, and then I'll explain the challenge. So there are different ways to to divert your waste. So first thing that everybody knows or probably has heard of is recycling. So recycling, there's composting, there's you can donate. That's kind of like recycling in a way. And then you can refurbish or even reuse. That's the first thing I would go to before we have to go and recycle or put it somewhere. If you can reuse it, I would definitely do that. So just go through the categories. The recycling one is kind of very important, but all of them are super important, and just different ways that you can divert your waste. And just to give you an idea of, or just so that you can become aware of what you can actually do and what things that you can actually put in different places when you're done using them, and things that you might not even have thought of. So yeah, we'll start with recycling. So again, it'll depend on where you live. So even from city to city within the province in Saskatchewan here in Canada, there are different rules and regulations, and the different recycling facilities take different things. So it just depends what people are going to pay for you to recycle, I guess. So I'll just name off the things and just to recap. So there's plastic. The plastic things, typically you will only be able to recycle the ones with the triangles on it and the number on the inside. More detail where some places will only accept certain numbers within that triangle. So those are plastics, and again, there's 7 of them, and they all have different names. They're all different formats of plastic. They're thicker, thinner. Plastic bags are one of them. That's a big one because a lot of places don't recycle those, but you can bring them to grocery stores. Some grocery stores will take them, and then they might either pay to get them recycled themselves, or they'll use them somehow. So it's really nice to see that that's an option, because plastic bags are a huge deal. There's so many of them, and I know a lot of grocery stores are trying to get away from that. They charge people for plastic bags now, or they encourage you to bring your own. So plastics, there's paper and there's cardboard. As most of you all probably know all this stuff. Paper, cardboard, there's tin and aluminum, so the soup cans, And then you can also get into the drinks. So like your pop cans, beer cans, beer bottles, wine bottles, anything that comes in a glass jar, that could be brought. So in Saskatchewan, we have a place called Sarcan. So you bring all your bottles, your beverage bottles and cans there, and they will recycle it. And they actually use all the different things for different things. So, for example, the clear glass, they actually bring that, and I know they bring it to Moose Jaw, and it's cool because you see a huge pile of glass in the yard, and they actually take that glass and incorporate it into the paint, and they put it in to the paint that they use for the highway for the yellow lines. So then, and probably the white lines too, and they'll just help with reflecting at night. So it's really cool that they can do that. And again, I'm sure that other places do the same thing or a little bit different, but you'll just have to look into how you can recycle your bottles and cans and everything else. Styrofoam is another one that's kind of iffy. I think I mentioned it last week. Styrofoam is mostly air, but it actually is plastic with a whole bunch of air. It's like 95% air or something. So again, that is one thing that I try to stay away from the most because it is a lot of places don't take it. A lot of places do not want to deal with it just because it's a lot of air and then it's very fine particles of plastic and it's just too difficult to process at the facilities. So um, that's just another tip that I have for that. So anytime you can, stay away from styrofoam because that is not cool. And then if you burn it, it's even worse for the environment. So I mean, again, that's a whole different topic of burning and not burning things, but we'll stay away from that. If you want to talk more about it, I'm here to talk. So reach out. So yeah, that's mostly the main thing. And then glass jars and stuff. I encourage people to just reuse them. I like to reuse glass jars. They're so handy. They last forever. Or you can bring them to your recycling facility, whatever they offer in your city or town. You might have to do some research if you're not sure. And a lot of places have those blue bins or those big large bins that you can take your stuff to within the town or city. So lots of different options there. So for things like food waste and yard waste and stuff like that, and even more things, there's different things that you might not even have thought of. I would compost those. So if you have a garden, you can compost those in your garden. There's a whole bunch of different ways to compost. Big, I guess there's a research and also a report on this in school, and it was all about composting for just creating what would be the best compost system for a city. So there are different methods of composting. Some people who don't have a garden or live in an apartment, they can do vermicomposting, which is with worms. There are specific worms that you would use for that. Um, and then, so most importantly, people say, "Oh, does it smell or whatever?" It just depends what you put in it. It depends what method you use. It should never smell. If you do it right, you shouldn't have to worry about it giving off harmful gases to the environment like methane. So you need brown, so that's carbon. So anything that's like wood or yeah, I guess tree wood or even soil, that kind of stuff goes in there. You need nitrogen. That's anything green, so leaves, grass, anything like that from a plant waste of any sort. And then most foods are nitrogen. And then you need air and water most of the time. And then depending on the method, you don't typically need air all the time. There are methods where you don't use air, but it's very specific. So again, I could go on and on about this too, but that is a way you can to get rid of your food waste. Even paper products that aren't too soiled, but even then, it's not even a big deal. You can compost those because those degrade very fast. And then tea bags, hair, dryer lint, and just wooden sticks like chopsticks. You can compost those as well. So pretty cool stuff. I'll probably post throughout the week just the different methods, even if you're interested, and if you're curious to see. And then, yeah, like I said, yard waste. So that's another thing. So people who will cut down trees, or maybe a tree will break in a storm, there are places to bring those as well. If you work for I don't know, a big place that's they're doing renos and you have a bunch of concrete, some landfills actually take concrete and they'll recycle that and they'll make it into new concrete. So it's really cool. If you have a company that does work with like building materials, look into it because I know the city of Swift Current, they in their landfill, they have that. They actually accept that kind of stuff. So it's really neat and really cool. Next, we'll go into donating. So there's Salvation Army, depending where you live. So Salvation Army, Humane Society, Value Village. In Regina, they have a place called Restore, so it's Habitat for Humanity. So there's all kinds of places where you can donate. Even hospitals, sometimes they'll take puzzles and books. Um, what else? There's all kinds of places that take donations. So that's really good to look into as well. And again, you can sell your stuff online too. And somebody else might be able to use it if it's like an actual, like let's say it's a chair, it's still in good condition, you can sell it online, or you can just give it away to one of these other places I mentioned. So lots of places that will take different things. Um, Fixing or refurbishing. So just examples, like I've seen lots of people who take old furniture and they make it into planters for their yard and they turn it into something really nice if it's furniture that can't be fixed and used again. And then even well, Eric, for example, he's my boyfriend. He's a mechanic, and he goes and buys new classic cars. They're not new. He goes and buys old cars, and he fixes them up. So I think that's really cool. He's kind of recycling in his own way. So that's a really interesting way of looking at it, actually. So really cool on that part. You can bring toys and clothes and stuff like that to those other places I mentioned. So yeah, lots of different ways to um, give back to the community and to also declutter your home, your life, and also to not put it in a landfill. Um, I'll mention this at the end. I just thought of something else. So, um, yeah, I mentioned the plastic bags, and then just different examples again. So there's little other things like pens, highlighters, markers, ink and toner cartridges like that are empty, batteries, used oil, light bulbs. So lots of different things. I know Staples here in Canada, they take pens and markers and batteries and old cell phones. They do take light bulbs too, and ink and toner cartridges, empty ones. So you just look into it. It's so great. It's amazing. And you wouldn't think to recycle a pen, but it is plastic and there's sometimes ink left over. So they'll take that and recycle that for you at Staples. And there are other places to bring, most likely, but that's where I bring my stuff. Um, and then, so then this is another big category, hazardous waste. So we might not know what hazardous waste is specifically, but we have, like I mentioned, used oil. Light bulbs can be hazardous waste. Anything that's in an aerosol can, even if it's something that's not really bad for the environment, it's still an aerosol can. They can still recycle that can in a way. And so that's really important to look at. Filled or empty paint cans, they can recycle those as well. Um, any pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, anything like that that you'd put on your grass, which I don't advise people to do because that's a whole other topic to go over. But those two are hazardous waste. Lots of things, smoke detectors, like I said, batteries, like car batteries. There's so many different things that we might not think of. Anything with household cleaners that have chemicals or that anything with those symbols on it from WMIS. So the skull and crossbone one, the poisonous ones or the explosive ones, anything like that, that should go to a facility where they accept it. Here in Saskatchewan, most cities do a household hazardous waste day collection. So you bring all that sort of stuff to them and then they will actually divide it into their categories and a company comes and brings it to a place where they'll recycle that stuff safely and properly. The City of Swift Current also has a hazardous waste landfill. So contaminated soils, asbestos, railway ties, those are a big one too. Those have a lot of like I guess chemical on them. So it's very interesting. You can actually compost those and then that chemical will just kind of go away throughout the process of composting. So I just want to point out all the different things that some of you might not even have thought of to recycle. So nail polish, that's a big one too. You might not have thought of that. Yeah, like hairspray, that kind of stuff. So I'm sure there's so many more I didn't mention, but just to give you guys an idea of what is out there, my biggest thing is batteries, light bulbs, that sort of stuff, because it's just not good for the environment to be in the landfill. So those are some things. And then another big category is pharmaceuticals. So I don't know if any of you do this or know this, but when you have, or if you do have medication, take medications for anything, if you have empty pill bottles, or not empty pill bottles, but some that you the toilet, like some people may think to do, keep them in the bottles. You can take your name off if you need to. Most places recommend that, and different pharmacies want different things. But you want to take your name off, especially put it into a shopping bag, close it up, and bring it to your local pharmacy. And then they will dispose of them properly. So that's a big one, a really big one, because we do not want that in our waterways. So again, because that will affect our health. So that's another big category. And again, there's so many more things that I could name and go over, but we'll just we'll leave that aside. So I just wanted to kind of go over different things like that could be out in our lives that we might not notice that could be put in different places than just the garbage. So this is where I come into the challenge. The challenge is kind of just so that you can gain awareness this week. I want you to go, and every time you throw something away, and this might be a lot for a whole week, but every so often just kind of start asking yourself, should I be putting this in the garbage? Could it go somewhere else? And if you have absolutely nowhere to put it, because there's nowhere to put it, there should be, but if it's really hard to, divert it, then okay, I get it, throw it away. But think about it now. So if you're gonna go throw away something like a plastic, like a milk jug, let's say, think about it. Can this go somewhere else? Do some research and see, where can I bring my milk jugs, or where can I bring my batteries, or used oil, or oil filters, any, like even antifreeze bottles and windshield wiper bottles. Those too can be disposed of at different places. In Saskatchewan, we have a place where they take used oil and all that sort of stuff, the filters and those containers, uh, specifically just that stuff, not just the household hazardous waste day. So this week I want you to go and when you think of it, just try to think of it. And every time you go to throw something away, can this be put somewhere different? And then look into it and see, okay, I'm going to start recycling my pop cans. I know a lot of people probably do because you get money back for it. But just think about it. If you're going to go throw away a blanket for some reason, see if you can do something else with it. See if you can give it to a shop that will use it as a rag. Or the Humane Society, if it's still in good shape, dogs and cats they'll use that for them to lay on in their kennels and stuff. So just ask yourself, should I be throwing this in the garbage, or is there a better place? And just become aware of where you can put things. If you need to, again, do some research. There's a really good website for Saskatchewan. I don't know about other provinces because I've never lived in other provinces and had to look into it. But here in Saskatchewan, with the Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council, they have a website, and you can type in whatever you have for an item, like a mattress or light bulbs or anything like that. And they'll tell you the closest location and where to bring those things. So it's really cool. And again, other provinces might have these. I'm just not aware of them. You might just have to Google it and look into it. So just take the time to become aware and then challenge yourself. See, okay, don't overwhelm yourself again, like we mentioned last week. Just maybe focus on 3 different items that you throw away a lot of, and you know that they could go other places, and figure out where you can bring it, and then just start making a pile and then bring it at the end of the week, something like that. So that's a challenge this week. Just to become aware. Where can I put this? Should it go in the garbage? Yes, there are things that have to go in the garbage. You can't really do much, but it's very minimal. If you really think about it, there's a lot of things that actually could be put somewhere else where they could be reused or recycled. So really cool thing to think about, and just start making that difference. I know a lot of you have already started to maybe recycle your disposable coffee cups from like Starbucks or McDonald's or something, and that's really good. And then once you get the hang of that, there's a next step where you can bring your reusable cups. So that's, so just baby steps where you can become aware of different things. So I think that's all I wanted to cover for today. Again, throughout the week, I'll put tips and advice and just facts about recycling. And I have so many ideas. So I'll try to put something every day because there's so many different cool things that I want you guys to learn about. And yeah, I think that's everything. So thanks for those of you who've watched this and watched the replay. And I can't wait to see what you've learned and how this week will go. And again, if you haven't yet, post your experience from last week with the waste reduction challenge. I'd love to see where you're at with that. And if you have any questions, I'm here. So have a good evening, and we'll see you all throughout the week.